Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website, www.site.org.zw.
It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele and Ndebele, and this is the Breakfast Club. Today in our program, we'll be talking about one issue that has been in the news headlines for this whole week. Is the issue of Chief Ndiweni. In the last few days, probably for a week or so now, we have seen different headlines, different stories about Chief Ndiweni. And we know that last week he was attacked in town by people. Out there was an of guys who wanted to take the car which was allocated to him by the government. We know that the Herald and many other newspapers like that reported that the whole event was stage managed. But what followed again was a lot of stories around him, that he had called for sanctions, he was a traitor, and all the name calling that always goes around when ZANU-PF wants to attack you. But one thing that we should always remember is that the story of Ntabazinduna is deeper than that. It's about the land issue. It's about the fight for resources. It's about the fight between politicians and traditional leaders. There is a farm in Ntabazinduna which is where the Ntabayezinduna is located, and that farm has been allocated to someone linked to the government or those in the ruling party. The sad thing about the land resettlement or the land issue in Zimbabwe is that after November 2017, when Mnangagwa took over, he promised that he was going to make sure that the land issue is resolved amicably and there was a lot of productivity. But in the past few months, what we've seen is a new wave of farm invasions. A lot of villagers around Matebele have been given notices to vacate their farms. We have seen new people taking over productive land, taking over farms that were probably not gazetted. They are now re-gazetting some of these lands or taking over some of these farms, because those who are in the system are now giving favors to their friends who did not get land or got land which they don't like, and they now want to take more productive farms. So what is said about the story of Zimbabwe is that the whole land issue is full of corruption. If you know someone, you're going to allocate land. And this is why we find the chief fighting with government, because the land in his area has been gazetted. His argument is saying that Ntabayezinduna is a very sacred place for the people of Ntabazinduna, and therefore it cannot be allocated to any other person, especially someone who doesn't come from the region. For those who are interested in history will know that when Mziligas came into this area way back in about 135 years ago, when he arrived, he discovered that Nkulumane, his son, had been appointed king, because people thought that Mziligas had died. So what they did was, Ntabayezinduna kulapho ke uMziligas afika khona and told Nkulumane to go back to South Africa because he had been appointed a king while his father was still alive. History has it as, again, that some of those chiefs who were involved in appointing Nkulumane were killed. Yiko kuthiwa kuseNtabayezinduna ngoba induna zahlangana lapho kwaresolvwa indawo yobukhosi. So this time around we find that the same place is being fought for by those who have been resettled, and the chief saying that this mountain is very sacred. So during the weekend, Chief Nhlanhlayamangwe Ndiweni met with his villagers on top of this mountain to brief them on what is going on. But before addressing the villagers, he also talked to journalists and to explain what was going on and why the mountain was very close and dear to him. So today in this program we'll be listening to the chief, breaking it down to the journalists and to the people. ngesindebele sithi asazi ukuthi kuyozalwa nkomoni, but this whole issue of Ntabazinduna Mountain, the chief and the government and ZANU-PF seems to be really dragging on, and sizabona lapho uyawela khona induku loqaqa.
Ladies and gentlemen, to show you the significance of this location, the last time such a gathering happened on top of this mountain was possibly 130 to 140 years ago. We are quite specific on that. The minute you say such a timeline, such a date, you are going into historical archives. So this place is noted historically that it is here and that really such gatherings occurred at that given time. How can we be so specific about the date? We can be so specific about the date because in 1893, that is where the big clash happened, only 2 kilometers away, that did the toll bell for the end of the Ndebele Empire. So we are on a place here that has a historical context. For me, it is moving because I'm saying we have obtained our independence as a nation. We're nearly 40 years down that road of independence. Have we gone right? Ladies and gentlemen, have we gone right with our independence? Because here is a sacred place to a part of the population of Zimbabwe, unrecognized, not protected, not looked after. Wherever you go in the world, such places, as I've said before, if you go to Ayers Rock in Australia, it is protected. If you go to the native places in America, they are protected. You cannot go easily into the Sioux Nation. They have places that are protected. Even if you want to go to the United Kingdom, you cannot simply go to Stonehenge. It is protected. So my question is, and really it is a question that surmounts all the discussion that has been had, the heated discussion that's been there. They have failed to answer the crucial question. What should we as a nation have done with such a locality as Ntabazinduna Mountain? Or are we saying that we are a nation without a soul, without a bearing, without a compass? Hence the passion that I have about this place. And that is why I've been forthright in my statements. Statements, all of which I will not retract, because this is profoundly a sacred religious place. So the conversation can continue within the media, within the current administration. That is good, that is right, that is proper. But at the end of the day, there has to be someone who speaks. And before people get the wrong idea about saying Chief Ndweni should not be saying X, Y, Z, let me shed some light on the role of a traditional leader. The role of a traditional leader gives those incumbent traditional leaders the authority and indeed the necessity to speak on every single subject there is. When you break down that statement I've just made and you go to a single home, there's a childbirth, the chief is involved. There's a wedding, the chief is involved. There's a funeral, the chief is involved. There's someone who's ill, the chief is involved. If there's an issue in my jurisdiction about health, the chief has to speak. If there's an issue about education in my jurisdiction, the chief has to speak. Absolutely everything. So this is an individual who, by his statutory requirements, has to speak on every single subject. The politician is more restricted. That is why you'll find a minister of portfolio for education. That individual cannot speak about antenatal care. Their portfolio is education. That individual cannot speak about the police. Their portfolio is education. So when it comes to the political arena, their conversation is much more restricted. But for a chief, by definition, the conversation of a chief must be broad, must be wide, must touch on virtually everything that we have. And before people get too hot under the collar, I have been to many government functions. I have been to many ZANU-PF functions. Having done that, it was incumbent on me to go to all the other political parties' functions so that I, as a chief, can ascertain what is going on, what is happening. I note very well and with concern what some individuals from the current administrations are saying and trying to push innuendos that Chief Ndweni follows this party and this party. In the last year, I've attended the current administration's functions much more than any other functions in the country because they formed the government at that time. But yes, I must go and see other parties. When I went to see Joyce Mjuru of People First, they said Chief Ndweni is following her. When I went to see Tabengo of ZAPU, they said he's following her. When I went to see MTC, they said I was following them. When I went to see all the other parties, they said he's following them. Ladies and gentlemen, I was doing my job and I'm doing my job. In my area of jurisdiction, my people will vote differently. Some will follow this party, that party, this party, but at the end of the day, they are all my people and I need to address my concerns to them. And so even though speaking on that particular level, I come back to the essence of why we're here. What are we doing about Ntabazinduna Mountain? For me, I'm saying there is no way whatsoever a politician can determine what happens to this mountain. He is not qualified to do that. He does not have the terms of reference for that. How will he assess the nature of this mountain? The only people who can determine what happens to this mountain are traditional leaders, because they have the loudest voice, the broadest voice, the most deepest voice with respect to such issues.
Namhlanje zikuphi ezinye izinduna kodwa Ntabayezinduna utheni nanawo kamhlahla uyedwa zikuphi izinduna zakumphakathi Ntabayezinduna Asintabayezinduna, Ntabayezinduna. Zayaphi izinduna zokhokho? Dala bazifeza ngemithi yebizidlambeba. Zona sizisani
Wena wengwe. Lengonyama.
Samngeleni mhlonjawa kaNdaba Ndiweni uthwala besabezizwe nezizwana oludunga likaNdaba ilingwe elimkonga kwabakamputhi yamahlathi omadangondingisani kwezikamkheswa enjola emdladla uyena okamkhulunyola kaThabo enkulunkulu eyabekwa ngamantungwa ongangendlovu uyena obeyinkosi umdladlodla amandla akhe uthwala besabezizwe nezizwana ubuhlasi bedlunkulu omadanga omalebo omfula intazibusela yasemangweni sathukase madlodlongwane
Abantu benkosi linjani? Banjani amakhaya? Siyabonga. Siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi hayi uSomandla usikhusele sasizafika khona. uNkulunkulu siyambonga siyamdumisa ngendlela ebanzi kakhulu. Siyaxolisa ngokuqalisa ngemva kwesikhathi kakhulu. Noma kade sivuke ekuseni ilanga lingakaphumi. Kade lokho sidonsa ukuhlanganisa izinto ezithize. Umumo wethu unzima abantu benkosi njengoba liyakwazi khonokho. Unzima. Kodwa okwethu yikujabula ukuthi hayi sifikile la ndifikile. Esikhathini bantu benkosi uSomandla uyakhetha abantu bakhe phakathi kwabantu ukuthi yini elifike khona apha lingasoli lingazibuzi. Thina okwethu siyabe sithatha izithombe ezizakhupha lina lonke sizifake emdulwini sithi ngomnyaka lo ubani lobani basukuma. Ngomnyaka lo ubani lobani basukuma. Bemela into ejiyileyo kakhulu. Lilapha likhethiwe. Lingazitsho ukuthi hayi ngizihambele ngenze lokhu lalokhu. Phakathi kwenu into ikhulumile uthi hamba ukhwele intaba leya ufike khona. Ngikhuluma amagama ajiyileyo ngoba isikhathi esijiyileyo. Kade ngikhuluma lalabo abalobayo. Ngisithi phose ukuthi kube le nduna entabeni leyi inyathele phezu kwentaba leyi ilabantu kulomhlangano kwagcina phose 130 years ago. Kwagcina khonokho. Nyathemba elikhona khonapha lonke nxa likhangele emuva embalini yenu lizathola ukuthi omunye ukhokho wami wayekhona. Nxa sikhuluma ngendlela leyi intaba leyi isiqalisa ukujula. Isiqalisa ukukhuluma. Nyakwa naye abafundisi imbali yethu thina ngapha kakhulu. Lokhu siyakwazi. Kodwa intaba leyi yiyo indaba okwahluma khona isizwe samaNdebele. Isizwe sakithi asihlumanga eLupane, eCholocho, ngaphi. Sahluma phezu kwentaba leyi.
Isho!
Ngoba nxa sikhangela imbali yakhona baqhamuka bevela khonale khatshana ezansi kwaZulu. Umbiko usufikile ukuthi Mashobane Mzilikazi khuphuka lapha uye ngale uyedinga intaba ethize. Intaba leyi ilenxele la. Intaba leyi iyathutsha ngaphakathi komhlabathi othe jikilili nje. Ime yodwa intaba leyi. Ayila abafowabo. Intaba leyi ime yodwa. Ungafika khona phana Mashobane uzavusa isizwe sakho. Lamanje inkosi yakhuphuka sibuya ngapha. Kodwa ngenxa yomlayo lo yathi hayi mfowethu Gondwane Ndweni. Emabhukwini bamlobe bathi uGundwane Ndweni. Waye nguGondwane Ndweni. Gondwane Ndweni hamba lengxenye yesizwe sami. Uthathe isizwe sami lesi la udinge ngomhlukulu ngapha. Mina ngizahamba lamabutho amanengi ngihambe ngale kwakhona. Kwaba njalo. Amadoda ahamba. uGondwane Ndweni waba lenhlanhla wayithola Ntabayezinduna. Kodwa umzilikazi kaMashobane wadlula ngale eZambia. Eselahlekile inkosi. Lokhu idinga ukuthi ngabe intaba lana ingaphi. Ngapha uGondwane Ndweni usefikile. Njoba lilapha mahlabezulu nxa likhangela phansi la isizwe sasihlezi phansi khona. Phansi khona sigomboloza intaba leyi. Kwakusokuchisa kuGondwane Ndweni ukuthi senze kanjani manje. Sizwe sahlokoma. Kule nkulumo ezinenginengi. Inkosi ingaphi ayikho. Isifile, isilahlekile, kuhambe njani enkosi yakithi. Ngapha isikhathi siyahamba, isikhathi senqwala sesifikile. Isikhathi senqwala inkosi evusa umcimbi lo. Awungeke kube lenqwala laphana inkosi ngekho. Inkosi evusa umcimbi lo. Izinduna zathi gwaqa. Hayi Gondwane Ndweni asenze iplan lapha sikhangeleni. Kathi sizidubelani bakwethu. Nansi inzalo kaMashobane. uNkulumane. Sekhulile seyindoda. Singamgcoba namhlanje siqedelane ngento lezi. Mhlawumbe inkosi yethu isifile. Bamdonsa uNkulumane bamgcoba. Umcimbi wenqwala wadlula basebenza. Waqalisa ukubuthi isizwe. Sebebona ukuthi hayi sokulekhanda. Kanti inyanga ezithize zidlulanga. Nansi ke isigijimi senkosi. Umpangazithi. lethi lizwi inkosi yeza madoda ingithumile nanso ke indaba eletha ngumpangazini inkosi yeza bathalaza bathi kathi sethi lenye inkosi inzalo yakhe kwajiya ke manje ababeloba indaba lezi bathi amaguma wonke lawa ayegomboloza intaba le athula zwi besazi ukuthi le inkosi ebuyayo asonkosi nje ngumashobali wadibana lo Shaka khona le kwaZulu wamnqoba gadlaliswa lo muntu ujile uzaqeda umntana wakhe aqede thina sonke bathi kwakuthula zwi inkosi yazi yafika yathi gwaqa yabiza makhosi seliqhwalise umntanami lambeka ubukhosi ingxoxo le ikhuluma phezu kwentaba le intaba le eyaduma khona le ezansi ababona phambili beyibonile inkosi yathi hayi mntanami sengukhupha lapha buyela ezansi inkosi yakhupha ibutho uthi likhaphe uNkulumane esithi buyela khonale kwaZulu bamgquba ezinye imbali zithi ibutho leli lambulala kodwa hayi cha imbali yakhe ikhona kafikanga kwaZulu wama lapha eMpumalanga ezansi endaweni okuthiwa iRustenburg ungafika khona la Rustenburg uzabona ibhakane lisithi umgwaqo kaNkulumane isikolo sikaNkulumane insonto kaNkulumane bakhuluma ukuthi wafika bakhuluma ukuthi noma wayehamba lebutho leli walivusa ibutho leli kwaba ngamadoda ajileyo yikho bemkhumbula ngapha phezu kwentaba isizwe samaNdebele sesivuka inkosi sithumeza amanye amakhosi lapha nalapha uthi babuse baqalise ukubusa baqalise ukwenza into zabo ngendlela ephezulu yikho ke bantu benkosi nxa lifike khona lithule nje licabange nje kancane libuke indawo leyi ngoba ibiza lina ayibizi umuntu ovela khatshana ayibizi umuntu ovela ngale esigodlweni eHarare ayibizi umuntu ovela khonale endaweni ezijenayo eZambia ngeNgola ngaphi Ngilandi ibiza lina kuphela lakho phezu kwalokho bantu benkosi akusoze kufike umuntu ovela khatshana alivikele intaba leyi balani layo asoze bayivikele intaba
isho mdlali
ivikwa yini elila ngoba ikhuluma ngembali yenu khonapha ithinta lina khonapha elikhona khonapha yikho ke nxa silapha namhlanje lingaphenduka emakhaya nxa lithethe izithombe lenzani lizigcine lezo zithombe libhale phansi ngemuva ukuthi mhlabani sakhapha umkheswa ukuthi abuye la lathi safika sagcoba phezu kweNtabayezinduna okwethu thina sekufisa ngentaba le sifisa ukuthi intaba le ihlonitshwe ingalulwazi nje kungaphonga ukufika nje abantu benze intando phezu kwentaba le akusikho kithi lokho lakho nxa sikhangela intaba le sabe sikhangela ngaphansi khonapha uthi imizi engaphansi lapha ingasondeli kakhulu la kubetha umoya kwenza ukuthi intaba le ikhanye ukuthi ilomutsho imela abantu abathize abaphefumulayo lizalalela inkulumo ezinengi emaphepheni lizazibala ezinengi ezinye ziduha zisithi zivoxa indaba leyi kwenza ukuthi lawe uqina usumangala ukuthi indaba bani leyi khona la inkulumo lezi zonke zimbambatha inhliziyo yendaba Ntabayezinduna yezinduna likubambe lokhu noma libala kanjani likuthanyele nje njengezibi ukuthi hayi manga lifihla Ntabayezinduna noma siphila lapha namhlanje kumbe sithi hayi masivule incwadi zeBhayibhelini indawo ezinje zizinzile kakhulu ziyakhuluma ukuthi awungeke wenze intando ngentaba enje uyabuxhopha usomandla emehlweni usomandla uyakatsa abantu uyaqondisa abantu nangu uMose uyazihambela welusa imbuzi zakhe zikhwele phezu kwentaba azilandele nansi isihlahla siyatsha phambi koMose phezu kwentaba atsha kwenye indawo phezu kwentaba usomandla amnxusa uMose ukuthi abe yisisebenzi sakhe uzahamba uyekhulula abantu bami khona le eGibhithe sebeqedile inkulumo zabo uMose athi pho kade ngikhuluma lobani ilizwi lethi ngiyikho okuyikho ngosilungu I am who I am phezu kwentaba silandele futhi imbali ezincwadini ezindala nangu ke futhi uMose usedibana lobabazala uJethro fundiso vele emedini athi usebenza kakhulu uMose uzaqina uhlanya khetha abameli lamanje wakhwela entabeni wakhuluma loSomandla entabeni ilizwi lathi uzabakhetha kahle akumele ukuthi laba abantu obakhethayo bebe ngabantu abathanda izimali abathanda ukuthengwa ngumlayo wokuqala bangabi ngabantu abathanda ukuthengwa
Isho
babe ngabemeqho abaphila labantu wehla ke uMosi wathi hayi nampo ke sengibatholile abantu abayi70 Somandla wathi abakhwela intaba bahamba khona phana wathi ngizathela umoya engcwele phakathi kwabo ubavusa ingqondo bakwazi ukukhokhela abantu kodwa lizabona nxa sengikwenzile uSomandla wakwenza khonokho nampa abantu sebeqalisa ukweqa sebeqalisa ukukhuluma njengabafundisi sebeqalisa ukugiya ngalokho wathi hey bengakakhokheli mele baqale bebe ngabafundisi phezu kwentaba siyayilandela imbali yonke khona phana ezincwadini uzufika khona le engadi yeGetsemane khona le ephezi kontaba nangu uSkarayoti yafika hamba lamaFarisi maFarisi nangu yana uJesu zamnqamuza nje kancane ukuthi ngilitshengise ukuthi nguye phezi kwentaba phezi kwentaba bantu benkosi ngizama ukujula uthi nxa ngisithi phezi kwentaba ngitshoni ilithinte lonke nxa ngisithi phezi kwentaba ayiqalisanga ngapha kithi imbali ivela khatshana emuva khonale phezi kwentaba ye phezi kwentaba
Atele Mdladla
yikho ke nxa kunjalo njoba kade ngibatshela ngayo asoze sivume uthi umpolitician aqume indaba yentaba yethu yithi esiquma lokho
Isho
noma umuntu lo phethe amaphepha njani esithi lesikhundla esinjani esithi lejazi elinjani kachede eceleni yithi esiquma lokho lakho nxa siquma into leyi asiceli kumuntu ibiza thina indaba leyi
Isho
phezi kwentaba abanye bakhuluma sebedonsa lokhu lalokhu ukuthi uMdladla uthe hayi uhlasela abantu ngendlela leyi laleyi nyabe ngikhuluma amagama lawo bantu benkosi ngoba eyami indlela iqondile angihubi njengenyoka hayi angikwenzi lokho nxa uSomandla ethe namhlanje Ndweni kuba iviki yonke le uzacheba ngomfushwa ngiyajabula njikho lokho nxa ethe Mdladla iviki le uzatshona ugola intethe yikho lokho akungidubi nxa sithi Mdladla hayi senguphosa khona legangeni uzalala ngaphansi kwesihlahla siyayivuma le ndaba yikho lokho kodwa abantu abafuna ukuquma indaba leyi eyentaba yethu bafuna ukudla inkukhu siku zonke bachebe ngenkukhu siku zonke noma kanjani into abayifunayo inkukhu nsuku zonke. Yikho ke kungathutsha ingwevu ethize ethi nansi isaka lemali, thatha mfowethu isaka lemali unike Ntabayezinduna. Uyakwenza lokho. Likhona amahlabezulu uyakwenza lokho. Isaka uyalithatha. Lina liphaphama ekuseni ukuthi hawu kuhambe njani. Hayi. Ngale badla iKFC chicken. Wena awusela ntaba. Yiliqisa likhona. Yikho ngangithe ukuthi hayi bonke abantu abenza khonokho abajeziswe. Abajeziswe sisho. Nxa sizacungulula sikhangela amaphepha wonke abiza intaba leyi. Izibongo zonke eziphakathi kwamaphepha lawana ngizathi abajeziswe. Andingi ukuthi uvela ngapha umuntu wakhona. Uxhwalile. Ugangile. Noma esithi mdlada nanti ijazi lami livela khona lesigodlweni. Asilandaba lakho ma. Asilandaba lakho. Yeah. Kajeziswe. Alungiswe. Ngoba kulabantu la sikhona. Imbali yakithi siyayazi. Siyisizwe esigcweleyo ngendlela zonke. Yiyo indaba esithintayo. Phezu kwentaba leyi sasithe hayi sikhuluma namanye amakhosi. Sathi umsomandla ngasithanda. Angasithanda. Eceleni kwentaba leyi lathi amakhosi singafaka nje idumba elilodwa esizahlangana khona njengamakhosi. Ngoba okhokho bethu bahlangana khona. Lathi sifuna ukuhlangana phezu kwentaba. Kube yithi amakhosi ngapha esihlangana phezu kwentaba. Sibheka uBulawayo ikhatshana khonale. Sikhangela intuthu zathunqa phezu kwentaba. Yiyo indaba esiyifunayo. Yikho ke lathi kade silungisa okuningi. Silezifiso eziningi. Kathi ngale bayasibhoda. Saqeda umnyaka wonke u2018 sibakhulumisa. Sibabonisa. Sibacebisa. Sibanikeza izincwadi ukuthi bantu benkosi lokhana hayi basingenisa emahofisini basiqhawule ngezandla bathatha izithombe kodwa siphuma eminyangweni bavala ifile sibuyele futhi njalo njalo sinsikhathi sigada amabhasi ebusuku agijima ngathi kule sambane phakathi. Silanda indaba yethu yentaba. Sifike khonale sidinwe. Sikhathele, silambile. Singene khona phana kesinye isikhathi singena ngo8 basithiye sihleze emabhentshini kuze kuchaya u4. Bathi singena khona phana bathi hayi kade khona usehambile. Oh. Kade khona khathesi usehambile. Sathi hayi akusenani. Kuyasiqinisa lokho. Yikho ke sithe namhlanje ke sizathi gwaqa khona. Lilanga lokuqala ukulwela intaba leyi. Asilandaba ukuthi indima yethu izahamba kanjani. uthi sizafeza nini kodwa sifaka unyathelo phansi la ukuthi sesiqalisile into esiyaziyo sizanqoba abanye bazazama ukusidonselana kodwa sizanqoba
Isomkezo.
bangazikhohlisa ngokuphosa lokhu lalokhu ukukhuluma lokhu lalokhu njengoba kade sizwa abanye bekhuluma baze babhubhudle amagwebu angilandaba lalokhu eyami indaba ithi intaba yethu phezu kwentaba yiyo indaba esihamba ngayo ukuthi kumele siyifeze ngendlela le nyakwazi ukuthi hayi abanye sebebala ngokuthi kade sisenza namhlanje abanye bazaphosa impendulo ezithize nxa libala khonokho kumbe lisizwa khonokho lithanyele nje eceleni ukuthi hayi inonsense leyo inonsense umdlala simzwile into yethu siyayazi lingakhuluma noma kuzothutshe nini asoze siyekele intaba yethu ngoba khangelani makhosi khangelani bantu benkosi singayekela ukuvikela intaba le bantu bentabazinduna bantu elivela khona apha koBulawayo singayekela ukuvikela intaba le ngizakhuluma limubani lamanye amakhosi ngizathi sigubuthu kuhambe ngendlela le Nkosi yami Mabhikwa kuhambe ngendlela le Sikhobokhobo kuhambe ngendlela le Mkhesa wabasi kuhambe ngendlela le Nyanga zonke kuhambe ngendlela le Jama Mathema kuhambe ngendlela le ukuthi abantu abalomlando ngentaba abasukumanga abazange bavungame abazange bazonde into engiyaziyo yile bantu benkosi singabambana ngentaba le noma abanye abantu bangathi hayi balutshwana nyakwazi ukuthi phakathi kwamanye amakhosi kuzathi thopololo ubona ugodlwayo ethutsha la ubona uMabhiko ethutsha la ubona bonke bethutsha khona ukuthi hayi sokwenele inhlambani ilwile sibili sokwenele asibaxhasi kodwa kuqala ngathi ukuthi into le siyibambe ngendlela le amalanga la amathathu nje silungiselela khonokho lakho ngemva kwemcimbi ngale koBulawayo ifoni kade lokhu iqaqamba eZansi England eAmerica engaphi izihlobo zethu ingane zethu zizonde ziyayibala indaba ukuthi how kathi kuyini khonokho kathi kwenziwani nxa kunje kathi asihloniphi sizathu bani omunye waze wakhuluma wathi ngabe intaba le ingale kwenye indawo ngabe bayihlonipha kodwa inxa ingapha ngikhuluma amagama ajileyo ngoba isikhathi mele ngikhuluma amagama ngibeke sobala kini lingathi umdladla usabili ukungena lapha usabili ukukhuluma lokho wambambatha lokho hayi nyayitsho njoba injalo lani libambe njoba injalo silomsebenzi bafowethu asoze kube lula kuzadinga sibili ukuthi umuntu lo muntu laye azibone ukuthi hayi ngifisa ukufeza into le ngoba phambilini inzalo zenu zonke la zizadobha isithombe lesiyana esithi 2019 ukhokho wami wasukumela intaba leya kumnika amadlabuzane uSomandla uyakhuluma uthi hayi ngendaba ezinje ngikhona nxa ngikubizile wala ukubuya emsebenzini wami uzophila nzima libiziwe lonke khona ngendlela ezijiyeneyo awungeke ugqobe ngapha uthi usuka khonapho usuflatela usukhohlwa ngakho uyabuzthelela imnyama ngoba ngendlela esingayiboniyo ubiziwe wafika wagcoba phezulu Ntabazinduna uthi uflatele nje angathi kade unathi Coca-Cola uyabuzthelela umnyama yikho ke abantu benkosi hayi siyabonga sengikhulumile okwami nje ukuthi ngilichaya ihlombe ukuthi lifikile lakho ukuthi ngilazise ukuthi umsebenzi wethu uqalisa namhlanje ngendlela ejulileyo ngentaba leyo sizabe sikhuluma kakhulu
bangane zalelizo sidlambeba inamabeleshana senihloniphe ezajabu sangomthwakazi sithi angikhethile noma siyaliguza sithi sengihloniphe ezomdabu noma senisele ezokudlalela sengihloniphe Ntabayezinduna namhlanje Ntabayezinduna inhlambane ngale ntaba senihloniphe wengane zalelizwe zikuphi induna zakomthwakazi namhlanje makukanje nasi Ntabazinduna okamdladla bakuphi okhokho bethu bakuphi ngale ndaba Ntabazinduna isizwe ngamathina kwaso siyabonga kamthethwa siyabonga mdladla sengathi kwasi ngakwengeza ezokubana usiphawulele lethu uphawu yaba bengaliboni wena nizwe sithi siyabonga mfo kamthethwa sithi zikode
When the government wants to be politically correct, they always say the chiefs are the custodians of the land and they should be involved in the allocation of land and how the land is distributed because the land belongs to them. But when they want to be mischievous, they will tell you that the traditional chiefs should not be involved in the politics of the day, they should not tell government what to do and all these kind of things. So this is the contradiction that we find in Ntabazinduna. While the chief is supposed to be one of those who are actually part of the process of distribution and redistributing land, he's against the process that is going on. Yet he is supposed to be working with the government to solve this problem. So we hope that Chief Ndiweni and the government of Zimbabwe are going to find a common place where they're going to discuss this issue, because at the end of the day, the fighting is not healthy for anyone and it disadvantages the people. We cannot have a situation where the government is always ridiculing the chief, calling him all sorts of names. Obviously, that puts his security in danger. And we cannot have people embarrassing the chief, trying to get a car from him, threatening him, and all these kind of things. So this is one of the issues that we believe the government of Zimbabwe will urgently address. And we hope also that other chiefs will actually approach government and try and find an amicable solution to this problem. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Till we meet again tomorrow, have a good day.